Other pressing issues facing the country. Let me bring in our India correspondent, Neha Poonia. Neha, happy Independence Day to you.
Thanks so much, and to all the Indians in South Africa as well.
What's the lineup for today, Neha? How is Independence Day being marked?
So Independence Day is usually known for the address that the Prime Minister makes from the ramparts of the Red Fort. It's here in 1947 on the 16th of August that the Union Jack was lowered and the Indian tricolour hoisted for the first time, and since then it's become a tradition for the Prime Minister to arrive there early in the morning at about 7:30 a.m. local time and speak to the country about the plans that the government has for the country this year. Prime Minister Modi speaking not just on Kashmir but other pressing issues as well, urging people to conserve water, speaking about the flood situation in various parts of the country, and also saying that it's important for India, which is the second most populous country, beg your pardon, in the world, to focus on population control as well.
Yeah. Today also marks the anniversary of the partition of the subcontinent to two countries, India and Pakistan. But help us out with a bit of history, Neha. Why does Pakistan celebrate their Independence Day on the 14th, which was yesterday, and India today?
That's just how the division happened when the British were leaving the country, which is why Pakistan was created on the 14th of August, and India's independence from the British was celebrated at the stroke of the midnight hour on the 15th of August. And since then, the two countries have been divided by that 24-hour gap as far as celebrating their independence is concerned, and that's just how it's been. But important to note that Pakistan today is not just recovering from the celebrations of its Independence Day, but also marking August 15th as a black day in Pakistan, expressing solidarity with what it calls Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
Yeah, I want to talk a bit about that, and also this tweet that's garnering a lot of controversy from actress and UN Goodwill Ambassador Priyanka Chopra, stirring up emotions. A tweet that comes, I guess, at a time where there's heightened tensions between India and Pakistan. What do we know about it?
That's right. So Priyanka Chopra had tweeted in February when India had conducted those aerial strikes in Pakistan across the border following that terror attack in Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir, in which 40 Indian security personnel had died. And she had tweeted Jai Hind, which is a patriotic slogan which essentially translates into Hail India. And she was questioned by a Pakistani national during a UN event where the Pakistani national accused her of promoting war between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. And to that, Priyanka Chopra's reply was that while as a UN Goodwill Ambassador, she needs to walk a middle path on issues like this, she's still an Indian first, and that wasn't about warmongering, but about patriotism.
And how's it going down in India, Neha?
So there have been, the opinion is widely divided, I would say. A lot of people who are supporting Prime Minister Modi's decision on Article 370 have applauded Priyanka Chopra for standing up for what they say are the armed forces of India that are at the forefront of this 7-decade-old conflict with Pakistan. Many others have said that perhaps as a UN Goodwill Ambassador, she could have used her position better to appeal for calm in a region that is dealing with this conflict that will have wider ramifications on how the Indian subcontinent will react to any kind of war between India and Pakistan. Of course, important to give a context here, the two countries are not at the brink of war, but there have been very heated diplomatic exchanges between the two governments.
Let's talk a bit more about that, Neha. Kashmir has been the epicenter of territorial struggle between India and Pakistan for, more than 7 decades now. Why is this so? Why this territorial struggle between these two nuclear-armed neighbors?
It all goes back once again to the creation of Pakistan and India's independence. Back then, there were many princely states. One among them was Jammu and Kashmir, and they were given an option by the Indian government to either become an independent state or become a part of the Indian Union. Now, Kashmir had chosen the latter after it was attacked by certain tribesmen from Pakistan. It had reached out to India asking for protection from those invading forces, and that's when this special provision, Article 370, which was revoked last week, was put into place by the Indian government. Now, Pakistan claims that this was incorrect, this was done illegally, and that Kashmir is an integral part of their country, something that India claims as well. And as far as the people of Kashmir are concerned, for the last 3 decades, we've seen an armed insurgency, with many of them demanding a plebiscite, which according to them was promised by the Indian government, going back to Kashmir's accession to India, and that's where the conflict lies. Of course, India says that Kashmir is and always will be an integral part of India, which is why it had the authority to do what it did last week, where it revoked special rights that gave Kashmiri people the power to make their own laws. And the government claims that that particular Article 370 actually prevented the people of Kashmir, which is India's only Muslim majority state, from becoming an integral part of the rest of the country.
Neha, please keep us up to date with regards to the latest that's coming from that area. And once again, happy Independence Day to you, Indian correspondent Neha Poonia there. Thank you. Well, as we